Hey everybody, I can't sit down because in the time that I got up, this cat took my seat, but I'm sitting down, obviously I can pick her up, she's very small. Just a little update about Ducky. She got built a number of cat mansions and houses today. It's yet to see if she'll care. So I'm crazy excited about today's video because you're gonna see other faces, not just mine, but my students' faces. The topic of today's video is a practice that I've done in my teaching for a while, which is doing high-low. Some people call it roses and thorns. I've been working in education for about 19 years. I just wanna say too, because sometimes people are like, you don't look that old. Let me look that old. It's dope to get older. What high-low is a way to connect as a classroom community. If I'm asking my students to make art, I'm asking them to be vulnerable. And if they don't feel safe in the spaces that they're in, how are they gonna feel vulnerable? How are they gonna create work that maybe pushes a little outside their comfort zone? High-low is something that we do generally at the beginning of class. We get in a circle, we make sure we're sitting so we can all see each other like it's a dinner with people that you love. The process is facilitated by me at first, and then I'm always trying to pass that on to students. So it's ultimately facilitated by students, and the students that you're gonna see have all facilitated a number of circles. What is facilitation? Facilitation is basically making things move along. The word facile means easy, so that's how I explain it to students. I might be pronouncing that terribly.
Fácil. Fácil.
Your job is to make it easier for everyone to share. We decide on who's going to be a facilitator. Then the first thing that they always do is explain the rules. That's always the first step because it's really important that we're on the same page. As promised, here are my students' faces explaining what high-low is.
Highs and lows are a time when people gather around to talk about their highs and lows.
The way the high-low works is that you're usually in a group setting. You can do it with yourself. That's just a check-in, I feel like.
High-low is a time where we get to share something good that has happened in our day.
By lows, I mean anything negative or bad that's going on in your life.
It's a part of the day where you get to highlight the best parts and the low parts, just to recognize that those are parts of the day that, they both have equal value and they make us who we are.
You must have a high, because even if you're having a bad day, you must make sure to always find something good in the bad.
You have to have a high, but you don't have to have a low. The reason why we do this is because we as humans tend to really just think there's only bad stuff happening around us, but it's good to take a moment and really think about anything good that might be happening.
And then you don't have to have a low because it's pretty good not to have lows.
When someone is speaking, you want to make sure that you stay silent and you're able to just focus all your energy on them, because we're stuck in our own minds a lot of times.
Give people the time and space they need to say what's on their chest.
Everybody needs to be heard.
So having a time to just focus on someone else and be able to hear someone else can be very relaxing.
And it also helps with just relaxing, being able to let it all off your chest.
Make sure you're taking that 1 minute to speak about everything that's going on with you, but then also make sure you're giving the same energy to whoever's speaking next.
I just really hope that we can all just participate and build a great community. And bye, you guys. I really miss coming to school.
It's really like saying, how are you? And then making sure you don't interrupt them. Because I know, obviously, I'm on YouTube. I love to talk and I interrupt people too often. And so the nice thing about high-low is you're really giving someone devoted space and energy to speak and be heard. And then you are giving yourself permission to just listen, to not interject, to not say anything, but to really just listen and hold space for another person's energy, for another person's emotions. Students, be looking out for, in your Google Classroom, for a place to sign up to do one of these high-lows. Remember, it's super awesome. All your grade can do is go up. If we leave this thing and you all are at 100%, so the platform that works best for running the high-low circles that I found is Zoom. Shout out to Miss Colvin for talking me through that process. Also, shout out to this student for making Aaliyah their virtual background. It's not a perfect process. Some of the tips that I give my students are to be in a quiet space where they're not going to be interrupted, which for some students is easier than for others. And then also downloading the app prior to the meeting time. And so I'm going to take you through this process really quickly. For Chicago Public School teachers, they have extended the basic plan so you can have as many people meeting as possible. So when you're in Zoom, you can just hit schedule a new meeting. I already, as you can see, have one meeting that's reoccurring. And then I'm going to change the name of this. This is going to be my third period's weekly check-in, and this is going to be their high-low check-in. If I want to put a description there, I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and schedule the time. The calendar allows me to pick a time. I am going to make all of my times in the afternoons. My suspicion is that students' sleep schedules are messed up and they're staying up later, so I want something that they can go to. And then I am going to make this a reoccurring meeting, making it weekly, just giving students some sense of routine. I am not requiring a meeting password. I want my video to be on. I want my participants' video to be on, although they can choose to just have audio. And then I'm going to let my students join before me in case I'm just running late or they want to start early. Now, there's a lot of information that they give you when they go to send it. I suggest just sending the URL. If you do the copy function, it sends all of this information that you don't need. So that join Zoom meeting, I'm going to copy that. And that is what I'm going to send along to my students in their Google Classroom. And then they can just use that link. I'm going to suggest that they download the app prior just so they can get a sense of it. But honestly, students do better at using this than I did because they're used to using these forms of technology in a way that I'm not. One of the things that we did after ran a high-low circle with my poetry group, look at how adorable they are. And one of the things that we did after is ask this question, and then we generated a great list.
All right, let's do this. Let's go around once and give everybody one recommendation of a show, a game, or just like a way to feel, or a song or an artist, just a way to try to feel good.
One of the things that's important is if you're working with a group you haven't worked with before, you want students to really check in on their boundaries and their comfort zones. So what I normally say to people, as this chart demonstrates, is that comfort zones are something that we stay in and we might not grow, but also that those are for our own protection and we need to really check in with ourselves and see where we're at, but that we're able to tiptoe out of those comfort zones once we've kind of observed that a space is safe, but that we don't want to go so far outside of those that we're in a dangerous situation emotionally. So I make sure to tell students that when you first start out, it's okay for your high-low to not really tell us much. And then I also make sure to tell my students that I'm a mandated reporter and that what that means, and that if they are talking about in any way hurting themselves or being in a dangerous situation or hurting anyone else, that I am required by law to report that. Let me know how your high-low circles are going if you're using this with your students. If you have other rules that you do in your classroom, because I know this is really popular, send those to me. All right. Peace. Oh, I think there's 33 subscribers now. Killing it. Bye.